Okay, guys, I just want to talk about this. There's a Bible church that released a video that tried to basically just make the claim that keeping the Sabbath is not a moral law, it's a ceremonial law. Now, first of all, show me in the Bible anywhere where it says that their laws can be categorized as ceremonial and therefore not really apply anymore. So, first of all, don't tell me that Jesus said we don't have to keep the Sabbath. He set the example of how to correctly keep the Sabbath in the presence of leaders that were incorrectly keeping it, which healing someone is restoration. Love your neighbor as yourself. You're supposed to rest on the Sabbath. Also, it's moral because it's God's. I mean, there's people who say that lying is wrong, and then there's people that say they don't feel like lying is really wrong. I've had a friend who believes that stealing is okay as long as you're not doing it from like your friend. You can steal from a store because they have a lot of money. And as long as you just let some homeless people go in there and say, hey, go steal me this and I'll pay you, he thinks that that's okay somehow. Now, thou shalt not steal, right, is going to be categorized by these Bible churches as a moral law instead of a ceremonial law. But their argument for why we don't keep the Sabbath is that humans supposedly don't feel a moral obligation to keep it. But first of all, I just want to say that's actually not true, because there are some people that do. And I am actually one of them. I actually feel like I need to keep the Sabbath on a certain day. I need to respect it. And I actually feel guilty. I feel like it's wrong if I try to work on the Sabbath day, or if I'm really not working properly enough and taking care of things on days that are not Sabbath days. The way I feel about it is similar to just being loyal to something that I know is true, like BSV is, or the correct laws or votes, the proper truth in a debate or in a court case. If I know, hey, this happened and not that other thing that happened, I feel like it's the right thing to do to support that. And that's how I feel about the Sabbath. I feel like, hey, this is the correct day. It's not supporting a Jesuit created day. It's not supporting a Babylonian created day. It's supporting God's picked day. In that God is, we're going to be tested in that. It's not just going to be free. Just like there's a temptation to do all these other things. There's a temptation to lust. There's a temptation to be envious of someone. Well, there's going to be, if there's no temptation, if you think about it, why would it make sense for there to be a commandment that there's no temptation for? Because the whole world is keeping Sundays, right? So it's easy to do so. In fact, you're rewarded and you're not punished for keeping a Sunday. There's no question about it. It's literally supported by all the world's systems. So there's no temptation to break it. So why would keeping the true Sabbath, why would somebody expect that that's not going to be difficult, or that it's not going to be something that you have to actively, go against yourself to do? People, when they just give into their desires, they have lust. They want to steal things. They want to lie. They want to do all these things. And why would the Sabbath be different? That's not a biblical. There's no a context where God said, okay, but when I give you these laws, just remember there's a ceremonial and then there's a moral, and you gotta decide that because you're going to have more authority than no, he never made it that way at all whatsoever. In fact, there's no indication when you look at the feasts. There's 7 of them. There's an indication that we've seen the fulfillment of the feast all the way up through the Pentecost, but there's 3 more feasts that have yet to see a secondary fulfillment. So like the Feast of Trumpets, for example, right? We haven't seen something come about. And yet we have some people that try to categorize and say, well, that's just Old Testament stuff. It's like, well, what was the Pentecost then? Because why were the Christians, literally after Jesus died, why were they keeping the Feast of Weeks? The quote-unquote Old Testament done away with feast. Why were they keeping it? Because that's what the Pentecost was. That's another name. That's a Greek name for the 50 weeks. And then what happened? The Holy Spirit came on that. Why would the Holy Spirit come on that feast? Think about it. He came on that feast. He didn't come on Christmas. He didn't come on this. He came on that, on one of the feasts that already existed. You see? And now we have Feast of Trumpets. We have all these other things that represent what a lot of people will call the end times. And some people are saying this is representing what's going to happen still in the future. So